really just saving people's lives
Yeah.
and, making me have them feelings again because I didn't have them feelings when I was using.
Right.
I wasn't crying about nothing. You know what I
No.
mean? I had
No.
I had a role I had to play out there.
I appreciate that, dude, because all I ever wanted to do was lead by example.
Hmm.
I could,
Right.
but I wanted to do it in a humane way.
I still want to, get this message out to people, and like I said, like sobriety solutions
Mhm.
saved my life. Let's get to it. So today, we got my man Ant. What's up, Ant?
What's up, Big Ben?
Not much, like before we get started, I just want to tell the audience, like how we met and what this whole episode is about, first and foremost, I just want to say when I first met you, being a staff member when I got to the outpatient facility. And I remember this particular time when you actually took me to go get my phone.
Yeah, I remember.
And on that particular day, as we was driving, I wasn't sure what it was like, but I think your whole thing was whatever you do, just make sure you come back,
Yeah.
because I wanted to go in and see my ex-girl, grab my stuff real quick. And he was like, yeah, go ahead, go do what you got to do.
Mhm.
But one thing that stuck out more than anything was when we was driving, you had told me about a situation you was going through at that particular time.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you can get through them type of issues and still come to work and still have a sound mind, that tells me that this recovery process works,
For sure.
But I appreciate you having that talk with me on the ride down to the city to pick up my stuff. And when I seen that positive energy coming from you, that right there told me, I think I'm in the right place. I got my brother around me, I mean, we busting up. We pretty much was from the same neighborhood,
Right.
sort of, kind of. And I was like, wow, I'm in good hands, So I think back to that time how it all got started. We're talking about maybe day 3, day 4, in that process, and look now, we're going on 4 years,
Right.
still moving. So I just want to thank you first and foremost just for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
And then, from that point on, just seeing a lot in me and being a stand-up guy, like our relationship just took off from there. So that's my man Ant,
I
So
appreciate that, man.
yeah, so Ant is he works at the Sobriety
Yes,
Solutions.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he's in charge of housing. You want to
Yes,
tell
sir.
the audience a little bit about what you got going on there?
Yeah, man. Listen, man, I love this field. Right.
Hmm.
I think you know that since you've met me.
Absolutely.
You're meeting a lot of people, right?
Hmm.
You're meeting a lot of individuals with a lot of different things going on in life. And a lot of these things is things that every regular individual go through as well. It's
Right.
just it's times 100 in
Uh-huh.
a sense.
Right.
And the
Right.
goal, man, just like you, right?
Hmm.
The goal is to give them something that I got,
Right.
right? And
Exactly.
whatever that is, to make sure it's valuable,
Hmm.
right? And what I
Exactly.
mean by that is whoever I'm talking to, because the voice is powerful. You know
Uh-huh.
this, right?
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Whoever I'm talking to,
Right.
I'm gonna give you what I got.
Right.
And I'm gonna
Absolutely.
make sure whatever it is, man, I need to make sure that it's valuable,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And so touching a lot of lives, right,
Hmm.
on many days,
Hmm.
right? And just trying to help people, whatever it is that they need and what they go through, that's what I'm here for,
Right.
right? Because someone did it for me.
Right.
Multiple people's done it for
Hmm.
me, right?
Hmm.
So it's that giving part, it's that giving back part.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'll
Hmm.
tell you like this, Ben, when I was a kid, man, for the few people that asked me, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Hmm.
I couldn't tell you.
Right.
I
Uh-huh.
ain't know none of that stuff,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And I
Uh-huh.
used to just look at people like, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I really don't know.
Right.
And at some point in life, I kind of got confused. Like, well, how come I'm not saying I want to be a basketball player
Uh-huh.
or a
Hmm.
doctor or something?
Hmm.
And I never could answer that question.
Right.
And so when I stepped into this journey,
Hmm.
this recovery process, and it kind of just fell into my lap because people saw something in me.
Right. Right.
That is the most important part of what I do on a daily basis.
Right.
Is that no matter who I come across, I see something in you.
Right. And
Uh,
I actually seen that in you,
mhm.
along the journey, right? And I remember, like being going into PHP groups and stuff like that, seeing you around, just that bounce in your step. that kept giving me the courage to, stick it out, I mean, that no matter what, and each day was getting better for me, and one thing that stuck out to me, and I remember you saying this time and time again, how you were working overnight, you still was coming back, going to your groups and like that, and making a couple meetings here and there throughout the week. And I was like, that's a lot, considering the
Yeah.
time we got to go through PHP and you got to do your whole day is pretty much full
Yeah.
and still getting a meeting in, you know what I mean? So when I heard that, that was like that made me really, really like say, you know what? This brother doing it, I know I can do it, so that stood out a whole lot to me.
And I appreciate that, dude, because all I ever wanted to do was lead by example.
Hmm.
I could,
Right.
but I wanted to do it in a humane way because I know how it looks because
Hmm.
I've done it the other ways before, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And when you don't have that self awareness, you don't realize the energy that you might be putting out to people.
Right. Uh-huh.
And then when you get met with backlash, you're like,
Uh-huh.
what's wrong with you?
Right. Uh-huh.
And it's not really them. It may be what you're portraying to people.
Exactly. Hmm.
So to hear that from you, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm going to tell you a secret. In the beginning, I used to say to myself, wow, am I doing a good job?
Uh-huh.
Am I helping people?
Right. Uh-huh.
Am I going
Uh-huh.
this direction? Because I'm human, right?
Right. Exactly.
So it's that daily checking myself,
Exactly.
right? To
Uh-huh.
see, I hope that I'm doing something for these guys
Right.
and girls. I
Hmm.
hope that I'm doing something for these people, right? I
Hmm.
hope that I'm bringing good energy when I walk into the building.
Right. And
You
actually,
know?
you did,
Yeah,
because I seen it, and every time I used to see you, it made me want to follow your footsteps because I was the same way.
yeah,
All I really wanted to do was give back. I wanted to help people.
yeah,
And I knew that, if I was surrounded around the right people,
yeah,
that I can start getting on that journey. So when I started seeing you, when I started seeing, because I was the type of person I would wean myself away from the negative stuff that was going on and surround myself around positive people. So that's how my recovery started working, So like when I seen you doing them things, whether you knew it or not,
mm,
like it rubbed off on me
I love
to
that.
build the relationship that we have now.
I love that.
But the real ticker to this here is how we really got to grow amongst each other as the time went on. And I remember you came to me and asked me about man I mean like being
I
managing the
remember.
recovery house. And let me even take it back. When I called you the other day, you was like, Ben, I miss you.
I
I
did.
really miss you
I did.
from all the things you do. And like I knew what I was doing there, right? And we can even talk about how I was a little rough around the edges
Oh, for
back
sure.
then,
Oh my
right?
God, for
Right.
sure.
But when you asked me to manage that house because you seen something in me by that time what I was doing
Yeah.
and that I was qualified to do that, that again made me say, you know what? This brother put some responsibility into me, and I was feeling the same way because now I'm running the house and I want to make sure like I'm doing the right thing, trying to
Right.
help these people, and it was some it was some trying times, like, but I think the most important thing is at the end of the day,
Mhm,
when one of the patient's parents called me
mhm,
and say, you know what, I want to thank you for helping my son out,
mhm.
and that was the part when I knew I was doing the right thing, so yeah, but mhm.
I want to say this before you want to venture into that because
Uh-huh.
I have to give you your kudos, man.
Uh-huh.
You, my friend, from day one, when I first met you, when you talk about that car ride, right?
Uh-huh.
They say we always can sense another person's energy, right?
Right, exactly.
So you kind
Mhm.
of know who's walking in the
Right,
room when you
exactly.
walk in
Uh-huh.
before you shake their
Right,
hand.
exactly. Uh-huh.
Some may surprise you,
Right. Uh-huh.
but you kind of know, right?
Uh-huh.
And you was one of those people, dude. When I first met you, I was like, this guy's got something.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I do it a lot
Mhm.
because I believe in people,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
But when I met you, dude, I knew you had something different.
Right.
I knew you had certain leadership qualities. I
Mhm.
knew that you could affect a lot of people's lives in a good, positive way.
Right. Mhm.
And I knew your good energy was
Right.
infectious.
Uh-huh.
I seen it.
Right.
I seen it with other clients
Uh-huh.
because I watch you guys. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And I
Right.
watch y'all interactions. And I'm like,
Exactly.
yo, this dude,
Mhm.
yeah, he got something.
Right.
And I want you to know, man, you have done marvelous things, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Uh-huh.
I've seen you help a lot of people.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot
Mhm.
of people talk about the
Oh
time,
yeah. Uh-huh.
when they went through things and how you uplifted them and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, man, I'm very, very proud of
I
you.
really appreciate that,
Very
and
proud.
part of it was also every single person that came into that house, no matter who it was,
Mm-hmm.
I sat them down at that dining room table
Yup.
and I had to talk with them. And I wanted to know what was their real reason to be in this house.
Yup.
And while being in this house, this is not a recovery house. This is our home for the time being. And that's how we treated that, like the bond, the relationship that I had with each and every person in there, they understood that I was there to help them.
Yup.
And that's why it worked so much because I wasn't just there to, hey, we're just going to chill. We're going to do this. No, we're going to do the chores. We're going to do everything that's expected of us in this house.
Yeah.
Because if I have to do it
Mhm.
and I'm the leader, then we all have to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, then you have to be held accountable for it.
Yes.
And a lot of people didn't want to be held accountable for it. So they
Yeah.
pretty much jumped on board.
Right.
So that was part of it.
Right.
Now, going back into the beginning part, like I'm still no matter what, I'm still from the streets. I
Right. Right.
still got that persona about me.
Mhm.
Sometimes people see me and they kind of like see a intimidating side and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not really that person. Deep down inside, I'm a loving, caring person.
Yeah.
But sometimes people will try you. So like I had to be a little rough on the edges sometimes because at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't want nobody to come in there and try to disrespect me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I remember you coming over there and telling me there's a way to do certain things and how to handle yourself and present yourself, even if there is a situation, there's still ways to handle it. So
Yes.
yeah, you
And
can.
and I remember that
Hmm.
conversation as well because all it was is you activating your boundaries,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We always got to have boundaries.
Exactly.
Boundaries may not look great to another individual
Right.
because it may not benefit them
Right.
in the way where they may want it to, right?
Hmm.
But that's how it's supposed to go. That's the beautiful thing about boundaries. And I
Exactly.
knew for you, sometimes when you couldn't get through something or an individual, it's not because you didn't care,
Right.
it's because you cared a lot,
Exactly.
but you just
Exactly.
didn't know how to harness that energy.
Exactly.
So it takes somebody, right, on the
Hmm.
outside who's
Hmm.
also been through it,
Right.
right, in the
Hmm.
beginning, right,
Hmm.
and who has help with it, right,
Right.
from my peers and the people, that surround me and give me that goodness to say, you know what, I see this brother's pattern,
Uh-huh.
right?
Hmm.
Let me go have a conversation with him.
Right.
Let me say, yo, Ben,
Hmm.
you can still lead him to the water, brother.
Right.
We ain't got to pull, we ain't got
Right,
to drag,
exactly.
right?
Because everybody there is not there for that particular reason.
For sure.
You're going to get some people that's just going to come in. They're going to have an attitude. They're going to want to try you. They're going to want to do whatever they want to do and
Yeah,
think is all right.
that's the truth.
And then, I respect the fact when you came to me and gave me that constructive criticism because I was able to take it in. Because not only was you telling me you've been through it too, you was in
Right.
the same boat. You was
Exactly.
doing the same exact thing and just telling me how to handle that. And when I started doing that, I seen it
Mhm.
and it was a lot of times when people got out of hand and they would have to leave. And when they came back, if they made it back,
Mhm.
they would say, Ben, I want to thank you for what you done to me because I knew I was wrong.
Yeah.
I knew I was being disrespectful and all that.
Mhm.
But I sat back and I realized everything you were saying. And now I want to be back and then jump back aboard and actually
Exactly.
work it different this time. So you see something different in people. Yeah.
Listen, man, you was built for it.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Like I know, this
Hmm.
recovery thing is not easy, man.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
Oh yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
tough because, in my opinion, the toughest part is figuring out who you are,
Right. Hmm.
right? It's not
Hmm.
about what anybody else did or this, that, and the third. Is figuring out who you are,
Hmm.
right? And I can tell you something, right, that I felt, I don't want to speak for anyone else,
Hmm.
but I've heard it, through the echoes a lot, is that sometimes, man, you just want somebody to care,
Right. Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
and it can come off wrong, right?
Right.
Because you could ask me,
Uh-huh.
yo, Aunt, you okay today? And I could tell you, man, I'm all right, man.
Yeah.
Leave me alone,
Uh-huh.
man. I'm good,
Hmm.
right? But inside, I'm like, no, don't go away, Ben.
Right.
Come back.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Come back, Ben.
Right.
Why you
Uh-huh.
didn't ask me again, Ben?
Right. Exactly.
If you
Uh-huh.
had asked me twice, Ben,
Right. Hmm.
I would have told you, and I would have.
Hmm.
And that's how we can be as people, right?
Right. Hmm.
And you were somebody, right? Not only did you hold people accountable, right?
Right.
You followed the method of caring,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's my whole practice, right?
Right.
When I wake up every day, that's all I want to do, right?
Hmm.
What's on the agenda, and I'm gonna go because it's one of those things where it's like when you care so much and you want to help so many people, it just
Right.
becomes a part of your repertoire.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
even think about it no more.
Right.
You just
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, and I think I look back on it now, right, being, like almost a year out the recovery house, right? And I think back, like I remember them times like maybe 1:30 in the morning, somebody used or something like that, right? And it's my responsibility to get them to treatment, right? And I used to say to myself, like, because first of all, I knew I was going to be on the phone with the recovery center
Yeah,
and I got to go through that long assessment with them, right? And I just want to get this patient in there
yeah,
because that time they can change their mind or whatever and not go. And now I got this person that's probably a little out of their mind and they got to answer all these questions. I got to keep them calm. And at the same time, I had enough compassion
yeah,
to sit there through that. Mind you, I had to go to work, the next morning
yeah,
at 7 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
Yeah, and I had to do that, get them there. I even went as far as like when they would call an Uber for them to come, like, no, I'll take them. Just
yeah,
let me get them there. We're not waiting for no Uber.
yeah,
Just let me get them there. And I appreciate the fact that y'all gave me that trust to handle these type of things. From doing it so much, you was like, okay, Ben, you know what to do. You know what I mean? I'll make the call, let them know what's going
there
on.
you
Y'all
go.
okay to do what I got to do. And I get that person in there. And when I look back at that, it just shows me like, the responsibility, how much I grew in time. I was like, you know what I mean? Like this was amazing, like
Yes.
the whole process. And I know for a fact, I remember when I told you that I was leaving, and it was like 3 years was a long time there, right? But through listening to my sponsor and stuff like that, I had to do some things different than I'd done before.
Agreed.
And I was saying to myself, you know what I mean? I have to let these people know that it's time to move on.
Yes.
Much as I didn't even want to,
Yeah.
because I was so comfortable, but it was a time in your life where you have to move on and do what you got to do. And I just seen the look in your face, and I was like, and I think Mike might have asked me, he was like, it's not no other issues or nothing else going on that, that you're making this decision. I'm like, no, is this the fact
You
that
were ready.
it's 3 years I've been here.
Yeah.
It's time to go. And that's where I'm at in my recovery.
And I'm happy you touched on that because I remember it. Right.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
remember us sitting down and having
Yeah.
a conversation out on
Yeah.
that back deck.
Uh-huh.
And selfishly, man,
Yeah.
I was like, no, man,
Hmm.
don't go.
Right. Right.
But I was also too happy
Hmm.
because here you are, man.
Hmm.
I seen where you came from.
Right.
I
Right.
see your progression.
Hmm.
I see how much you care about people and
Right.
how you were also caring about yourself,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I remember when I got there, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
It touches you,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
And it's
Hmm.
just like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
not feeling like I'm my brother's leaving,
Right.
my family member,
Uh-huh.
right?
Exactly. Uh-huh.
But that's when you don't look at this thing like a job.
Right. Exactly.
It's a life,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
And I made it clear that when I was leaving, that it wasn't the end of the relationship. And
Yes,
I
you did.
still continued to be there. Like I said, I worked right around the corner from the house.
Yeah,
If it was anything that ever was going on, I had the ability to go there and
yeah,
take
you
care
did.
of it or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
And still to this day, in fact, I was there yesterday.
I
I
know,
stopped in on the
and they
guys.
love you too.
Yeah,
They
like
love
yeah.
you.
I just go by and I see them when they come out to different fellowships and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
see them and they like, hold on, you're Ben? Like,
yeah,
you was the guy that was running the recovery house. I heard a lot of good things about you, and for them to still see me around and doing the same thing,
yeah.
it's still rubbing off on the newer members that's coming in there
It is
now.
because they
And
know who you
yeah,
are.
exactly. And I grip them up and I tell them, look, this is what we do. This is how we doing it. You know what I mean? After the meeting, we're going out to get something to
Yeah,
eat. Come on out and eat with
let's
us,
go.
like that. So, I still do the same exact thing that I was doing when I was there because that's how much I care about all the patients.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just love the process, and like I'm just so happy the fact that like when I did call you, you was like, yeah, man, of course, because you remember I told you about starting the
Yeah, I
podcast and stuff
remember.
like that, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get you on. He's like, I want to come on,
Yeah, you let me know.
and this is what it come to, like this is all still part of the help, you know what I mean? Because I still want to, get this message out to people, and like I said, like sobriety solutions
Mhm.
saved my life.
I
I
appreciate
mean, I put that out to the audience, you know what I
it.
mean? Sobriety solutions. If it wasn't for you guys, helping me out, you know what I mean? And I remember in the beginning, if I didn't have certain things, y'all would go to the store. I don't care if it was like if I needed some toothpaste or whatever, y'all put me on my feet. Y'all got me where I wanted to be, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this is a good place all the way around the board, you know? And it wasn't just for me, it was for everybody. Yeah.
And I'm gonna take it back to something that I said, right? You
Hmm.
know how you feel that way? Like,
Uh-huh.
wow, there's somebody doing this for me, or there's somebody doing this for you.
Right.
It's because, right, I may can't do every single thing for
Uh-huh.
you,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna show you how much I care,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And the things that I can't do for you,
Right.
I'm gonna tell you,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm
Hmm.
gonna be honest with you.
Right. Uh-huh.
And even if you get upset, like,
Right.
that dude, man,
Mhm.
you know what you can sit back and say? Well, at least he told me the truth. At
Exactly.
least he didn't lie to me.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Exactly.
Yesterday he did do this.
Hmm.
And you know what? I did see him yesterday try to do this
Right.
because
Hmm.
it's a lifestyle, Ben, right?
Exactly.
Some people look at it and they may say, man, you do so much,
Hmm.
or you're doing this, or when you
Right.
got time to yourself. You know,
Right.
that's a big
Hmm.
one, right?
Exactly. Uh-huh.
When you got time to yourself,
Right.
when can you do this? When can you do that?
Hmm.
I make those times to do those things as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
It may not seem like it's
Right.
the house of
Hmm.
the world,
Hmm.
right? But here's the point, right? If I was used to able giving something 8 hours of my time,
Right.
once I started this recovery process and I really went full in
Hmm.
on being a part of multiple people's lives,
Right.
I got to cut that thing down to 4 hours.
Hmm. Exactly.
Here's the significant part. Can I still put the same amount of care
Hmm.
in that 4 hours
Right.
that I did that 8 hours?
Exactly. Yeah, because now you're shrinking that down. Yeah.
Balance,
Exactly. Hmm.
putting the same amount of care in whatever it is that I'm doing.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, back then I didn't know how to care about myself.
Uh-huh.
Like you said, right? I'm from the streets of Philadelphia. So it's
Right.
like,
Hmm.
and some parts is kill or be killed. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
you know what I
that's
mean?
facts. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you grow up with the survival mode. And
Uh-huh.
the only thing that I learned, because I don't want to speak for anybody else,
Right.
but the only thing that I held close to me was respect, or at least
Hmm.
that's what I thought.
Right. Hmm.
So if I felt like somebody was
Hmm.
touching on that respect,
Hmm.
it threw my whole algorithm off,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So here comes me walking into the house,
Uh-huh.
just regular guy from treatment and not knowing what I'm doing and trying to figure this stuff out. And it just takes one person to go like that.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with this situation.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
that's when I don't know myself,
Right. Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
And just like you, man, what I love about this whole process and what I love about my job, right,
Hmm.
is that I get to be a part of a lot of stories.
Right. Hmm. Absolutely.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
I get
Yeah.
to be a part of a lot of
Uh-huh.
stories, right?
Exactly.
I get to get up every single day
Hmm.
and be a part of a new story and
Right.
multiple stories that I'm already in,
Right. Uh-huh.
right? And I'll even say this because some people might hear it and be like, man, that sounds a little cheesy, dude.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to tell you something. I learned to stay present
Right.
more than in my head or anything else.
Right. Uh-huh.
Makes it easier because I don't have to think about it.
Right.
It's repetition.
Hmm. But talking about them stories, right? So I have a funny story right here, right? I remember
Oh,
one
here we
time, right?
go. Here we
No, but
go.
this is when I seen a whole different side of you, right?
Okay.
So we was at the house one time, right? And
Mhm,
somebody had a suspicion of using, right?
mhm,
So they went in the bathroom and they came back with a cup of cold water in the pee jar, right? And tried to
mhm.
pass it, right? And
I know what you're talking
you
about.
threw the cup across the room and it landed in the trash. And I was like, yo, that was a good throw, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I seen a different side because like, the things you got to go through. You see some of these things and you still got to humble yourself, right?
Yes.
And I remember exactly after that, it's like amongst all the stuff that was going on, one of the other patients came up and was like, can somebody take me to Circuit City? And I'm like, Circuit City? Like, are you using something? Because I haven't heard of a Circuit City in years. You know what I mean?
Like, where's that at, man?
And I'm like, what is going on in the house? There's so much. This guy want to go to Circuit City. This guy's putting cold
Mhm,
water in the urine bottle and trying to pass it off, knowing it's a temperature on there
mhm.
and it's clear as water. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Like, come on.
come on, but it's just them sides that you see, and the way you handle that. You know what I mean? It was just so funny. You know what I mean? Because I seen so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
I seen so much stuff, and I don't even want to get into all the
Yeah.
craziness
Right.
that I
Right.
seen,
Right.
but them things happen amongst all the beautiful things that happen.
Right.
Like for instance, somebody coming to me and saying, Ben, because the way you treated me and the way you run this house,
Yep.
I'm able to get back into my home and be with my family.
Exactly.
Those type of things, still to this day, people calling me that I helped out.
Yep.
So when I hear them type of things, it was just a matter of just wanting to help myself.
Yep.
That's all I was doing. I was just helping myself and I was staying grounded the whole time. And I had all these soldiers that was in the house with me. And it wasn't like no big eyes and all of us was just together. We was all recovering together and doing stuff together.
You know why though? Not to cut you off.
Uh-huh.
You were looking at many different versions of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And I seen how we didn't have a big turnaround in that particular house. Like a lot of people wanted to be there. It was like the reputation was that particular house was a good house.
Do you remember how me and you would talk and you would be like, yo, man, I hear your house is good, dude, but over here, man. And I used to be
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
not a chance,
No
man.
comparing. Yeah.
Not a chance.
Exactly.
But you see how great that was?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Do you understand not
Exactly.
only like you just said,
hmm
not only what it did for others, but what it does for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
What it did for me.
Yeah, exactly.
When
And I
I
seen it in you, you know what I mean? I seen it, you know what I mean?
dude,
Because people that the relationships you build with the guys that was over at that house, it was the same exact thing.
same
These
thing.
guys going to bat for each other, they're going to bat for you know what I
Yes.
mean? And that's how it was over there. And the bigger picture was that we was just helping people
That's all it
and
was.
getting that word out to people that, hey, this recovery thing is fun. We had a lot of fun times,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun going on, and it was more good than bad overall.
Yeah.
I seen that part of it. So
It's always more good, dude.
oh,
Because
absolutely.
if you think about it, everybody's got to walk through some kind of storm.
hmm
All of us.
Exactly.
That ain't the
hmm
end, man.
Exactly.
That's just a part of a chapter that you got to go through
Right.
because you're trying to figure out again who you are.
hmm
And then once you reach a level of a different type of self awareness, right?
hmm
You'd be like, damn, I didn't even know I could get sad like that. I actually felt that. Or,
Right.
and did I just shed a tear, man? Let
hmm
me walk over here so
Yeah.
nobody looking at
hmm
this. But then that starts to progress, right?
Right.
So you're starting to feel human again.
Right. Exactly.
See what I mean? You don't feel like a shell.
Yeah, and that was a lot of days, going up into my room, and I would have them moments, just of gratitude,
Hmm.
when I look at the overall picture of, really just saving people's lives
Yeah.
and, making me have them feelings again because I didn't have them feelings when I was using.
Right.
I wasn't crying about nothing, you know what I
No.
mean? I had
No.
I had a role I had to play out there.
Hmm.
But to come in here and like I said earlier, like to have a phone call from someone's parent
Yeah.
calling me and telling me, you know what, you're really helping my son out. And I mean, it got to the point where as though they had the probation officer and stuff calling me, and I'm like, hold on, that I'm not clinical.
Yeah. Like, hold
I'm
on,
just
yo.
in housing, you know what I mean?
Like,
But they wanted me to tell their probation officers what a good job they was doing and how much they was progressing,
yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't do that now, you know what I mean? That's definitely an issue that we got to deal with clinical,
You know why it was easy with you though?
Uh-huh.
Because how much you cared.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
a different beast.
Yeah, exactly. hmm
Anybody can do a job or anybody can, lead a pack of people.
Right.
Anybody can, be honest.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
You can give them a piece of paper,
hmm
write some things down and say, do this.
Yeah,
And they'll
exactly.
do it,
hmm
right?
hmm
But it's a difference when you care.
Right, exactly.
Because when you care, you might look at the paper and go, I got it,
Right, exactly.
right?
Yeah. hmm
I don't need to be prepped for it because I care,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's
Absolutely.
what we try to provide for people like yourself, like
hmm
they done for me, right? On
hmm
and so many other people, right? On just a large scale that when I lay down at night, dude, and I'm gonna
hmm
tell you this, when I lay down at night, I
hmm
always do two things. One, I process
Uh-huh.
what went on in the
And
day.
that whole day, right.
It's like a replay,
Right.
right? I'm at a point now where I can just do that. Back in the day, you start replaying
Right.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
You like, man, I gotta stop thinking about
Right.
this, right?
hmm
But now it's just a replay and a recap of what went on, all the series of things.
hmm
And then I say this, and this is the truth, man. I say, what could I do better?
hmm
What could I have done better?
Absolutely.
How could I have done this better
hmm
with this individual?
hmm Just doing a daily reprieve,
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing, Ben, and I'm going to say this, that I always try to do is I tell myself, did you create chaos today?
hmm
Right.
hmm
And if you didn't, right,
hmm
we're good. If
Right.
you did or you came close to it, Can we fix it?
Gotta clean it up right away.
Can we fix
Yeah,
it? Right?
exactly.
And 9 times out of 10, we can.
hmm
But the goal is not to get to that chaos.
Exactly, exactly.
Right?
And it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough, because I seen throughout the whole day all the stresses that you go through. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
yeah.
it's a lot. And it's not always you. It could be the other person that's causing that type of
For
anger
sure.
and pain and stuff like that. And you still get through it. But more than anything, man, I just want to, in closing, I just want to thank you for taking the time out. You said a lot of great things about me, but more than anything, man, I gotta thank you and I gotta give you your flowers as well, man, because
Appreciate that.
I can honestly say, and like you always been there for me. I care about you. I love you as a brother. You know what I
Love you
mean?
too, man.
And like, I just want to let you know, you already know how much I'm grateful for what you've done for me and finding that leadership in me and putting me in a position, because it's still carrying on now with my kids.
Yeah.
It's still carrying on with that cat running around scratching
Yeah.
everything up. It's still carrying on with like taking care of my property and
Yeah.
this is my business right now, and running my business and stuff like that. So it's like and the thing about it is that I know I can still call on you any particular time
You know I'm gonna
if I
answer.
need that advice or whatever's going
Whatever
on.
it is.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you, you know what I mean? And I just want to let you know, man, I appreciate you coming on and
Thank you, man.
together, what we're going to do is we're going to try our best like to help anybody that's still struggling,
Exactly.
reach out. The information is right there, you know what I
Right
mean?
here, y'all.
All I can say is if you need help, we're here. We can get you in the right facility. We can get you
It's a fact.
everything you need because I was the same one. I came in here with nothing,
Yeah.
nothing at all. And I remember them times when y'all brought me little things and I got me on my feet and I was grateful, you know what I mean? And if you're struggling and going through that, you can get it together. Like you can definitely, you know, ask for help and the help is there. So I just want to
Man.
thank you and I appreciate you
Thank
for
you, big
coming out,
dog. I'm happy to do it
and
anytime with you, man.
exactly.
You know I'll do anything for you, Big Ben.
Exactly. Now let's get to it.